Welcome to Pots, Pans, and Pioneers. Today I'm going to be canning tuna fish. And I do this probably once a year, and I can enough to where that's what we have every time I want to get tuna fish. There are shocking, I don't know if that's a word, but shocking articles that we read all the time about tuna companies putting all different types of fish in their tuna fish. And the best way to know that you're getting tuna fish is to shop at a organic market, fish market, or absolutely catch your own. So what I've got here today is some ahi tuna, and I have a bowl here, I've chopped up majority of it into cubes, and we're going to slice up this final one. And these are pretty thick ahi tuna steaks. And most people like this grilled, but I like to can my own tuna. It's packed full of vitamin D. It's very lean, and it's really healthy for you. And my husband loves tuna salad. So I'm gonna get this canned up today. And the great thing about this is you can season it to your own taste. You see all kinds of flavors of tuna on the shelf at the store. Lemon, pepper, spicy, all kinds of different kinds. And this is, you can control the seasonings, the salt, everything by doing it yourself. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this in the bowl. And you just want, you want big chunks like that, because we're gonna pack these jars pretty tight. And these are, let me move this out of the way and wash my hands. You always want to have clean hands. I'm using gloves today just because I guess I have a phobia against touching raw meat, and any kind of raw meat, I don't know. I just don't like to touch it. So I've got 12 sterilized pint wide mouth. You're going to always want to use a wide mouth because it's really hard to get maneuver the jar. So I recommend if you're going to do pints or the half pint, which some people do the half pint. I'm doing a full pint just because it's my husband and I, and this is enough tuna to make us a good bowl of tuna fish salad, or put it in macaroni or whatever. So we're going to use these Kerr pint-sized jars, and they've all been sterilized and clean, and they're actually still kind of warm. But first, before that, I want to get the tuna seasoned. And today, all I'm going to be using is some Creole seasoning, which y'all know I use a lot of that. And I'm going to be using garlic powder. And then we're going to use, it's recommended to use canning salt or it's not an Epsom salt, some type of canning salt. So they do make canning salt, or you can use kosher. You can even use sea salt. Sea salt's really great. But canning books recommend that you use either kosher or canning salt. So I'm going to use kosher today. And I'm just going to do it like that a little bit. You can always season it once you're making it, making your tuna fish, or however you're going to do your tuna fish. And we're going to put a little bit of olive oil. This fish is really, ahi tuna is really lean, so it doesn't have a lot of fats, and you don't want a lot of dry tuna fish, in your jar. So I'm just drizzling it on here. And then we're going to use a little bit of lemon juice. And that's just, or you could just squeeze one lemon. And you got to move pretty fast once you do the lemon, because the acid in this lemon juice is going to start to try to cook the fish. So I'm just going to put a little bit in here, just enough for about like one lemon. And then we're going to hand toss it. And you could do this with a spoon or anything like that. I'm going to hand toss it just because I want to get the olive oil all over the fish, the tuna. And if it breaks apart, no worries. You know, it's tuna, it's gonna flake. And this is skin removed, but you could can with the skin on. People have different preferences of how they like their fish canned. This is boned, so there's no bone in it. Now, my grandmother used to, you know, can tuna, but she would use, you know, canola or corn oil in hers and different oils, and some. I even remember a time when she did. She used a little bit of melted margarine, because you want to keep the fish, you know, moist in the jar. You also can add a little bit of spring water or distilled water to the bottom of the jar. I wouldn't recommend pouring it over, because we're going to try to get as much. These is going to be more of a dry canning, a semi-dry canning. And so let's get them in the jar. I'm going to show you how to pack a few jars, and then I'll go ahead and finish all the jars. I have 12 jars. I don't know how many this is going to make. But what we want to do is we want to take the tuna fish and we want to drop it down along the sides, and you want to make sure that you're filling up all the airspace. You know, pack it down. I'm going to dry can some of these, and some of them I'm going to put distilled or spring water. You see tuna in the store all the time with spring water, so I know it's good. It's okay to do that. And you always want to leave an inch head space at the top of your jars between the lid, you know, the air pocket. You want to leave that for sure. Hopefully you can see that. I love tuna fish. You could open this right out of the can, the jar here, and have it with crackers. So any preppers that are out there, this is a great prepping meat, because it's on the go. You could take it really on the go with you and eat it straight from the jar, and just with some crackers, and, you know, keep going. So it's a great meat to can. And see this one, it's kind of flaking off. I'm just going to pack it down. Okay, I'm going to get my jars all ready to go here. And I know I'm not going to have 12 jars full, but we just want to pack it really down so we're getting out all of the air. With tuna fish, I'm going to just pack it down as much as I can with no air pockets whatsoever, but you really need to try to get a lot of the air out of it. Any air bubbles at all, because your jars could explode. Well, that's never happened to me. I've seen videos of canners having jars inside explode. So, all right, we're gonna get the rest of the jars done, and we'll be back. We've got our water heating for our lids, but I'm going to take a little bit of vinegar water and I'm going to wipe the rims around, making sure that we get all anything that's residue around that would keep it from sealing. We want to make sure and clean that off. Got all our jars wiped down. Got all the air removed. It's pretty packed down in there. I put a splash of distilled water in each one, just a splash. And I've also added vinegar to my canning water in my canner so that these won't cloud up and look nasty. They'll look really fresh. Another good tip is to always make sure that your canning is kept in a dark pantry or a place where it doesn't get a lot of light. Your food will last longer. Any kind of sun exposure to home canned food can sometimes cause the lids to come loose because they warm up, and it's never a good thing. So I would recommend always keeping stuff in I keep mine in a back guest room closet. Most all my canning, I turn that into my canning pantry, so I have that. So, all right, we're gonna get our lids next and we'll be back. Okay, so we're ready to put our lids on. I had 4 2-inch tuna steaks, and that was able to give me 5 jars. I'll have to go back and get more tuna so I can have, I usually have 10 or 11 jars. So I've got the lids in some really hot water, not boiling, just hot water. And we're going to put them on top like that, each one. And you're going to want to cook these for at least 90 minutes. Some people recommend 100 minutes for meats. My dog is whining. Okay, and then we're going to just put a little bit of pressure on them. We're going to take the lids, and I always call this lady tight. Don't hand it off to your husband, because if he puts it too tight and it goes in the canner, there's a chance that there's too much pressure and it will, not sure why that happened, it will explode in the canner, so you don't want that. You just want these lady tight, they call it finger tight, I think, in the canning world, but I just don't think you ought to bear down too much. Okay. Alright, I'm going to drop these in my canner. Can them for 90 to 100 minutes. Here in Texas, it's 110 pounds of pressure. And when they come out, we will give you a look. Okay, our canned tuna has come out of the canner and is cooled. All the lids are sealed. So we've gotten 5 jars, pint-sized jars, out of 4 tuna steaks. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please join us again next time. Click the subscribe button to see more videos. And I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Have a blessed week.